The Mets have struggled this season, and to make things worse, they're all set to begin a 3-game series with the hottest team in baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays. The New York Post's Dan Martin is here to talk about this series. And Dan, we need you to break this down, man, because, I mean, compared to where they were at this point last year, it's looking like two different teams. So break down this matchup for us. What are the biggest challenges or even hurdles that the Mets are going to face when they play Tampa Bay, who conveniently has the best record in baseball?
Well, Brandon, there's going to be quite a few hurdles, but I think that the biggest one right now is the Mets lineup. You know, they just haven't hit lately. They're coming off a kind of disastrous road trip. They thought they were going to feast on some of the lesser teams of both leagues, with the Tigers and the Rockies and the Reds and the Nationals, and instead, you know, they went 4-9 over that 13-game span, and they just haven't hit. That's been the common theme. You know, Alonso was on fire earlier in the year, as was Nimmo. Even they've cooled off. And you know, Buck Showalter is looking for some kind of help, but there's nothing right now down the pike. So, you know, now we've got Tampa Bay coming in, first place, like you said, in the AL East, the best division in baseball, the best record in baseball. They've got a great pitching staff, no matter what seems to happen, whether they lose a player to free agency or to injury. Somebody else comes up and shuts them down. So, yeah, I mean, the one thing the Mets have going for them, you know, they're back at home. Maybe that'll spark something, but they really need this lineup to get going.
Yeah, because it's been 5 games since they've actually hit a homer, and they're only at, I see right here, they're only at 41 homers on the year. They hit a total of 171 last year. So I know you kind of touched on this, but should Amazins be concerned with the lack of bats? And how is Buck going to turn this around?
I don't even know if Buck knows that just yet. Look, you take away Alonso's 13 homers, those numbers look even worse. You know, you've got guys like Lindor, who's not hitting up to par. Other guys have been a huge disappointment. Starling Marte, we've talked a lot about him and just how far he's fallen since last year. So, you know, there's no real theme as to why these guys aren't doing what they did last year. Some are more concerning than others. You know, Escobar has played his way out of the lineup. So they just need guys like Nimmo, Alonso, Lindor to live up to their contracts, to live up to their reputation and their capabilities. So, as you said, we saw them do it last year. There's no reason to think that they can't turn this around. But, you know, we're 6 weeks into the season now, and this lineup has a lot of question marks. You know, we've talked a lot about bringing guys up maybe from the minor leagues, but it seems like they want to keep Vientos in the minors for now, let him develop a little bit more there. Same with Ronnie Mauricio. So right now that you know, they're counting on the guys that are here to figure this out.
Yeah, and what doesn't help them is they're going up against a Rays rotation that's first in the MLB when it comes to ERA. So let's switch over to the Mets pitching. Justin Verlander should make his Citi Field debut tonight. How important is it for him to have a solid outing tonight?
You know, it is important because what we just talked about with the stretch that the Mets are in, and they want to turn this around, and they have a big test tonight against the first place Rays. But it's all, you know, it's just important that they get Verlander and Scherzer going. You know, the rotation hasn't been up to what the Mets thought it would be when they you know, signed Verlander this year, and Scherzer was coming into his second year. They both dealt with injuries, and Carrasco has been hurt. Other guys have been ineffective. David Peterson was a disaster last night. It's been bad all year. You know, Billy Eppler talked the last time they were home that even he was a little surprised by the lack of production from the rotation. So, you know, they need their horses to be their horses. So that's Verlander and Scherzer at the top. And that, you know, if they pitch like they're capable of, and why the Mets brought them in, a lot of things take care of themselves. You know, if you win games 2-1, nobody's too worried about the lack of homers. But until they start doing that, all these issues kind of come together, and you're looking at a team that's not playing well. It's under 500 and just can't seem to get out of its own way.
Well, the last time Verlander pitched at Citi Field, he was with the Astros. He pitched 8 shutout innings, so hopefully that carries over tonight. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brandon.